Welcome everyone to this new lecture. Well, what should we do so that the practices give positive results? Well, one of the most important things here in our esoteric process is to understand, to clearly understand that all we do here is practical. Right? Only practitioners will receive, will deserve specific and positive results thanks to their own merits, efforts, discipline, perseverance, practice. Right? And the fundamental here is to achieve the practices. That's the fundamental here, that's the base here, to achieve the practices. And this is a process. In my case, for example, I took 2 years and something to achieve my first astral unfolding, right? To achieve consciousness in that astral world. But I knew once a woman that told me that in the first night, she did it. Only talking about the astral unfolding. What about the mental unfolding? What about meditation? What about the development of the intuition? What about sexual alchemy? What about transmutation of cosmic forces, for example? All we do here in our inner process is practical, no matter what. Right? Authentic spiritual masters exist due to the fact of practices, of discipline, perseverance, during all their processes, their very personal processes. Right? Let's analyze different aspects that will help us to detect, to know what is happening, what is lacking in our own process for any esoteric practice. Right? First of all, remember that each one of us, without exception, needs that inner mood. We must be willing to make the practice, to apply the practice, to be successful. If we don't have that positive inner state, inner mood, it will be something more than impossible to deserve it and to achieve it, to get it. Right? Another aspect, pretty important as well, is our physical body, the state of our physical body. It's necessary to learn to respect our temple. This is our physical temple. If we don't respect it, even if we have the deepest yearns inside of us, it's not possible to achieve the practices, to get them. Alright? Go to bed early. Stand up early. Don't do drugs. Don't smoke. Don't drink alcohol. Practice any sport. Try to have your own nice diet. Try to don't drink, for example, yes, beers, volcanic type of alcohol. Even sodas are not right for our own physical body, right? When you eat, for example, when you have your breakfast, lunch, or when you have your dinner, please wait at least 1 hour until your physical body, your digestive system, processes the food. Alright? Don't eat and immediately go to make the practice. Try to never do that. Alright? Hydration is essential as well. At least 1 liter of water is necessary to drink daily. Alright? Take fruits. Eat fruits, vegetables, aloe vera, for example. Alright? That's essential to keep your physical body in nice shape. Alright? That's pretty important. Other aspect having to account, for example, to be very careful with is lack of concentration. Right? Lack of concentration. If we are not focused in our practice, sexual alchemy, meditation, astral unfolding, development of intuition, relaxation and concentration, transmutation of cosmic forces, and so on, we won't get the practice. It's something more than impossible to achieve it, to get it. Concentration is our own consciousness focused in the action. If our consciousness is our same inner God, we'll never fail. That's not possible. Failure is not an option if we are being controlled and governed by our particular God, by our own consciousness, by our own inner being. Just because we do anything in life in a judicious way, apparently, it doesn't mean that we are focused in what we are doing. Alright? Let's practice concentration, for example, while we are washing the dishes, brushing our teeth, washing our hands, doing our bed, having breakfast, etc., etc. Try to never interrupt, for example, what you're doing in your daily life. To educate yourself gradually, so when you go to the practice, when you apply your esoteric practice, any type of esoteric practice, you'll feel different. You'll feel yourself that you're more focused. thanks to that previous and prior physical work in your daily activities. Alright? If you start doing something, make sure you finish it. To develop gradually more and more concentration. Without concentration, it's not possible to achieve the self-realization. Because our own concentration is bottled, the authentic concentration is bottled, trapped inside of each one of our psychological defects. So while we are washing our dishes, driving the car, walking on the streets, doing anything, self-observation and that inner petition to gradually be more focused. Alright? If you are taking a shower, make sure you're not thinking about something else but being focused in washing correctly the different parts of your physical body. If you're brushing your teeth, do not remember things that already were done, that already happened. Don't plan your future. Don't think about something else that probably is coming soon in your future life. No, just focused in your current activity. If there comes any type of thought or feeling, worry, fear, any type of psychological defect that is not related or associated with the activity you are doing at that very moment, remember your inner petition to your own Divine Mother in order to release more concentration, more light, more consciousness, literally, while you are interacting in the usual way at any moment of your life, daily, as much as you can from instant to instant. It's a process, remember, grain by grain, little by little. Patience, infinite patience, to achieve authentic concentration, or at least a decent concentration, in order to achieve, sooner than later, positive results during your esoteric practices. Right? That is very important to understand. Right? Lack of concentration. What don't allow us to, for example, be focused on what we are doing? Thoughts, feelings, memories, plans to the future, fears, resentments, hates, and all of them come as soon as we are doing something usual in our daily life. Washing our hands, having breakfast, talking to any other person, watching TV, etc., etc., etc. Alright? So it's necessary to be careful with all these tips in order to achieve sooner or later the authentic concentration. Alright? Distraction is the opposite force to concentration. Our ego is always distracted on doing something. Always thinking, always remembering, always planning, always distracted. And apparently here in this third dimension we are judiciously doing anything. But in reality, in our own psychological world, in our own inner world, We are absolutely distracted, worried by anything, with fears, anxieties, nostalgies. Alright? Lack of concentration is not living the present time, but living in the past or in the future. With self-observation and that inner petition, we are focusing in what we are doing no matter what it is. So when we go to our practices, esoteric practices, at 3 a.m., 5 a.m., 7 a.m., 7 p.m., 3 p.m., 8 p.m., we are more focused. We are not distracted, or at least a bit less than the usual. Alright? Now, another aspect to be careful with, as much as we can, is lack of faith. We are skeptical people. At least, or yes, not yet. We are not faithful people. What is the opposite force to faith? Doubt. We are full of doubts inside. We are too intellectuals. Too much. Because we like and we love reading too much. Only practitioners already achieved faith, the authentic faith. Faith moves mountains, literally. We are not talking here symbolically, but literally. Gaining that inner confidence, that inner faith, is possible when we take the risk, when we go one step ahead, when we make the decision for our own good to practice. Deleting, eliminating all those inner fears, insecurities, doubts, anxieties, subjective ideas, subjective theories about astral unfolding, sexual alchemy, meditation, the elimination of ego, without justifications, without excuses, etc., etc., etc. A faithful person carries braveness inside, authentic braveness. Right? The best tool, the fundamental tool that we have here in all our esoteric teachings, esoteric studies, is the elimination of all these doubts, fears, anxieties, insecurities, distractions, desires, memories, plans, resentments, hates. That's the best we have here to release the authentic and objective faith. Faith is something from the heart. It doesn't belong to the mind, but to the heart. All those brave hearts are going to achieve, without a doubt, without exception, authentic faith. Do you think that the ego has faith? Real faith, authentic faith, It is not. Only the inner being, our inner particular God, is faith by himself. It's necessary to release our inner consciousness, our God, our particular God, our own inner being, in order to feel the change, to accumulate more and more and more faith gradually from day to day. And we'll see the results for sure. Unfortunately, due to the fact that we are full of ego, full of psychological defects inside, anxieties, subjective concepts, subjective elements, we are not faithful. We are not faithful people, but the opposite. That's why we prefer reading as much as we can. That's why we prefer talking about all these topics instead of practicing, to prove them. Yes, for sure, we do need the theory, the base. But sooner than later, please, go to the practice, because it's the only possibility or way to achieve real faith. Right? The one that makes knows by himself, without believing others, but believing himself, because he is his own follower. The authentic esotericist follows himself and never follows others. The one that already knows never doubts again, and that person has faith. He has defeated ignorance. Also, the word faith is the opposite to ignorance. A person full of faith, that person knows. And if he knows, he never doubts. He has defeated doubts. He has achieved faith. Another aspect of failure that is important to analyze, to reflect on, is the worst enemy of mankind. What is, in your opinion, the worst enemy of mankind? The worst enemy of our mankind is fear. We are full of fears. And thanks to self-observation, we may detect them. Nevertheless, it's possible to release the opposite virtue inside of fear, which is braveness. Love is in the actions. All of us know it probably. Love is in the actions. Due to fear, the opposite force of love is in the omissions. If we are full of concepts, theories, subjective elements, for example, about astral unfolding, meditation, sexual alchemy, the elimination of the ego, etc., 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 probably our own fears that have their own origin, their own cause. In the rest of the psychological defects, subjective elements, those concepts, theories, absurd ideas, and so on, will paralyze us. All those inner things that we've been creating and accepting inside will paralyze us, will stop us, and it means omissions in our process of self-realization. So, for people full of fears, is not possible self-realization. There are many concepts, for example, about satanic concepts, for example, about astral unfolding. That's the most typical example we could give here today, for at least, for example, in this specific moment. Millions of people all around the world think, due to their own fear, because we are scared about what we don't know. Many of them, millions of people believe that astral unfolding, sexual alchemy, the elimination of the ego, for example, is something not right, is something negative. Alright? Please remember, this is our worst fear. Our worst enemy are our own fears. Prove something. Delete your fears. Detect them first. Then make the inner petition to your Divine Mother mentally, to that female part of God inside of you that is in charge of the elimination of your own ego entirely. Your Divine Mother, your own Devi Kundalini Shakti, is more than absolutely prepared and ready to delete every single fear you've created inside. Fear to snakes, fear to be in loneliness for the rest of your life, fear to don't have money, for example, in your wallet, fear to lose your parents, to lose your kids, fear to death, fear to life, yes. That's true. We are full of fears. But with psychological death, we release what is inside of each one of our fears. You don't lose anything. You lose nothing by proving psychological death, the psychological death. When you detect, thanks to your own self-observation, that you have fear to astral unfolding, sexual alchemy, etc., to anything or to anybody in life, make that inner petition and you'll feel the change immediately. Immediately, in an instant, you'll feel that the fear has been deleted. And gradually, you'll feel yourself with more and more brightness. That's the famous yin and yang of those ancient wisdoms. The good of fears is brightness. And this virtue of our own inner being is trapped, bottled in each one of our own inner fears. Brave people, real brave people, are full of love. Love is in the actions. We are hypnotized by our own fears. That's why the opposite force to love is in the omissions. Have we omitted many things in life or several things in life? Probably yes. Probably yes. Right? Next aspect. The goal. The purpose. When we practice, for example, astral unfolding, it's necessary to establish, to have a specific goal, knowing our own inner being, our divine mother, Master Jesus, Master Buddha, Master Krishna, Master Ravolu, Master Samael Aun Master Zoroaster. Knowing, for example, if in Venus there is or is there a specific mankind, Jupiter, Ganymede. Okay, always before of making your astral unfolding practice, put your own goal. If this is something absolutely personal, you make your own decision about the type of goal you want to achieve. Alright? This is essential to be successful, to have our own north when we are practicing not only astral unfolding but also, for example, meditation. What is our goal? For example, do we want to know the 6th dimension? Do we want to know the 7th dimension? Do we want to seriously receive the answer to a specific koan? For example, okay, that's a goal as well. Right? It's necessary to have a goal while we are doing our esoteric practices. More specifically, astral unfolding meditation. Alright? It's absolutely important. Now, let's know 4 rules for all students of esotericism. It's necessary to know 4 specific rules about for every single student of esotericism. Number 1, know to jeer. Right? The desire should be transmuted The desire is something subjective, it's something psychological. The desire is located in our solar plexus, right? Under the belly button. But as soon as we delete the desire, which is a psychological effect, because in fact inside of each one of us we've created desires for achieving or to achieve our own self-realization, and we delete those desires. We transform them in gears that belong to the heart. And all this is about psychological defect, the elimination of each one of the different desires, psychological desires, psychological defects that we've been creating since thousands of years ago, literally. What do we yearn currently? A house? Millions of dollars? A lot of money? It's necessary to learn to yearn. Or our biggest yearn is the self-realization of our inner being, of our own particular inner being. That's why. No to yearn. The desire is the source of all strength. Desire is the source of all strength. Number 2. Know to take the risk. It means starting to do. Yes, here we are talking about things intimately associated with the esoteric work. Starting to do. Try the practice. Take the risk. Take the initiative to make the practice. Self-observation, meditation, the inner petition to your own Divine Mother in order to delete your different types of psychological effects. Don't wait that somebody else pushes you in order to achieve your own self-realization, your own progress, your own advance. Take the risk. Give the first step, please. Try to do it. You lose nothing by doing it, by trying it. Yes, it's a process. It's a long process. Little by little, grain by grain. It's gradual. But only risky people receive the benefits, receive the occult, real and inner initiations. If we continue following the rest of sheep, it's not possible to achieve it. Number 3. Now to make. We start doing something. We began doing anything. Yes, about esoteric practices. On the inner being, our own inner being. Finishes, continues the practice. And he's the one that finished the practice. The one that makes is our own inner being. But we should give the first step. We should have the initiative. We should try. We should start doing the practices, little by little, one by one. Or are we waiting for our own inner being to make the entire and all inner work? Do we seriously believe that without doing anything, he is going to do everything for ourselves? Okay, number 4. Rule number 4. Now to make silence. It's not prudent, it's not right to talk about what we see in the higher dimensions of nature. In the higher dimensions of nature. Fourth, fifth, for example, when we get our first astral travels, astral unfoldings, our own inner being or the divine hierarchies probably will show us different things about the planet, the country in which we are living currently, divine hierarchies, or even our own inner being, our inner father, our divine mother, will tell us. As soon as we achieve the astral unfolding, the meditation, they will let us know different types of information about our families, our countries, the society all around the world, our planet, about anything. And it's not right, for example, talking about what we see in the higher dimensions of nature. Wise people are prudent. We have no idea about the consequences we may origin if we start talking about somebody else, someone else, or something else that we've seen in the higher dimensions of nature, in the higher dimensions of the universe. Yes, there are moments when our divine mother, inner father, inner being, the divine hierarchies in the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, seventh dimension of the universe will show us information in an open book, for example. Only if we receive information in open books, we have the right, in fact, we should say what we saw in that open book. For sure. But just if you receive the information in an open book over there in the fifth, sixth, or seventh dimension. Alright? In other moments, probably they will let you know something, but immediately they tell you anything about anything, they tell you it's a secret. Alright? You already know that you can't say something about it. Alright? You don't have the right. They trust you and specific information, but you don't have the right to share with anyone else. Alright? Right there in the higher dimensions of nature, any one of us can get, find, search, in fact, search in the Akashic records of the universe, in that esoteric library, a lot of different secrets, as we have no idea. It is necessary to deserve that information. And to deserve that information, it is necessary to learn to be prudent. It is necessary to know to make silence. Wise people is prudent. Alright? Well, this was the conference, the lecture, and well, thank you very much for attending again to this lecture. Have a great day, have a very nice day, and hopefully see you soon. If there is any question, remember, any doubt about it, please let me know, and yes, I will respond to you as soon as I can. Thank you. Bye.